It's a beautiful day in New York. It's almost 80 degrees, and there are only a few clouds behind the Manhattan skyline, viewed from my perch in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. It's a beautiful day in New York because tomorrow, many of us who have our voter cards at the ready during a very contested primary season will be able to cast our votes for Bernie Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders, to represent our values in the executive office in Washington, D.C. But before I get into that, I want to tell you about a stereotype I experienced yesterday before a rally that brought out 30,000 potential voters to Prospect Park on another beautiful afternoon in the borough where my daughter is being raised, in the borough where Bernie Sanders was born, in a city that was once the capital of the United States. I was that stereotype. I was that cliche. As I boarded my fixie, complete with a fold-out seat for my daughter Lola, and threw my messenger bag over my head with my little Bernie pin, and rode past the mango woman, pushing fruit on a stick in the park, as I rode past the Chinese 99-cent store, selling Dora the Explorer birthday balloons, as I rode past hipsters, sunning in the grass outside of Smorgasburg, as I rode past a homeless man, listening to his transistor radio, as the voice of Erica Garner played in a loop for a Bernie Sanders campaign ad, talking about her father's memory in his own particular Brooklyn, as I rode past a Puerto Rican mom standing in line with her 3 young children amongst thousands, and what I had learned was 3 hours and counting, and as I got to the front and locked my bike next to a footpath beside 2 NYPD officers who were making sure folks knew where to stand, and when the event was scheduled to start, I thought to myself, you're a goddamn Mr. Cliche. I'm just getting fucking started. I did not cry for this. The 2 times I cried. But then I became quite proud when the Sanders staff person handed me my lanyard and led me to the risers where I'd be pointing out to the traveling journalists where to place down their heavy bags they've been lugging themselves for many months from state to state. I realized I'd be watching my candidate from under the bleachers, where teenagers have been known to make out, through the cargo pants of cameramen and the high heels of CNN on-air personalities. I'd be watching Bernie through the pant legs of his constituents, and that's where I've been watching him this entire time. It's a beautiful day in New York because I have the simple right to vote for Bernie Sanders tomorrow. I have that right at my fingertips, and your fingertips, and in the mind of my daughter, who just yesterday asked me, Dad, how come Bernie Sanders doesn't want to pay for graduate school too? 5 years old. You're fucking right, kid. That's the spirit. And I want to ask her, how come I know the name Tamir Rice? How come I have an easier time finding Basra on a map than Boise? How come I know the exact figure of her healthcare deduction on my paycheck and where that stands against the price of an AR-15 assault rifle? How come Lloyd Blankfein of Goldman Sachs makes $675,000 times more than a woman working overtime at Shake Shack to make ends meet to raise her daughters? How come there's not a mosque erected at the corners of Liberty and Greenwich instead of a giant glass phallus? How come my kid's name has become a number on a balance sheet at the DOE instead of the kid that knows how to recite Shel Silverstein from memory? How come this man, a man that dedicated his entire life towards the plight of the poor and the disenfranchised, the underpaid, and women, blacks, migrant workers, for reproductive rights, and Palestinians, and the LGBT community, and those without health care, and those without the means to a decent education, and homeless vets, and on and on and on and on. How come he has such a goddamn struggle to climb uphill to lead us where we're supposed to be?
Nice!
I'm sorry. This got out of hand. What was I saying? Oh yeah. It's a beautiful day in New York. We're a little closer to the day that maybe future Mamie Tills and Veronica Posners won't have to display their children's open caskets on church altars. Where future Erica Garners don't have any reason to stump for any politicians. where hardworking Mexicans can toss stones across a border, where their children and ours have drawn a hopscotch court in the sand, where going to the hospital doesn't empty your kids' college savings, where transgender folks don't have to travel in packs or need a lawyer on speed dial and can dance and open in places like Dallas and Birmingham. It's a beautiful day in New York, and I'm under the bleachers looking through the work pants of American voters, hoping that they know the score. It's a beautiful day in New York, because tomorrow is Tuesday. It should be more sacred than Christmas, because the states, because there's 50 of us, these states, because there are some people left in Syria taking notice, and my favorite politician hates war. It's a beautiful day tonight in New York, because I've been waiting my whole life to look through the dresses and trousers of folks that I love, like I love my daughter, and cast my vote for them, because they too have daughters, because it's Monday, and Bernie Sanders can still be president.
Yeah.
So fuck it. Let's read some poems from some old folks who were once young and living folks like us. Let's read poems and say thank you to Bernie Sanders for representing our best foot forward. Does anybody want to read some revolutionary American poems with me?